How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So on today's video, we're going to be working on a Prologue, and this car does have the P0534 code. So there is a service bulletin for it where we have to do a couple of checks, and then afterwards, we're going to remove this line over here. We're going to remove this check valve. We're going to test the check valve. So it is facing the right direction. As we can see here, we have an arrow that's pointing up. And then this one here, the arrow is on the other side and has to point down. So we are good as far as that goes. I do have a brand new check valve here. If needed, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at the O-ring. I'm going to test it, make sure everything is good. Chances are the line just needs to be reamed out. So these do come from factory with an imperfection in them. And the issue is that the new ones also have the same imperfection. So that is why Honda is not replacing the lines, and we're going to be reaming it to a certain size. Just make sure that the pendulum here has space to open when needed, and that line or that incorrect hole doesn't obstruct that from moving the way it needs to be. So we do have to remove the wheel here, so we're going to take that off here. I am going to be doing this on the floor because the other rack, the only rack that we have for this, is being used currently. So going to just use a floor jack, get a jack stand under there, and just do it on the floor here. We did a whole bunch of these before the bulletin was actually out, but now there is an official bulletin. We do have to open up the valves for the system. So these valves here, and just make sure it evacuates all the Freon. We are using the brand new Molly machine here. So it's doing this thing right now. We are doing a flush. So it's going to take a while here. The first time we're using it. And then we'll get this thing on the road. Shouldn't take too long other than this setting up this machine and just getting it to work and do what it needs to do. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so now we have everything apart here, and this is essentially, so this is what two good lines are supposed to look like here. But even if these were obstructed, it wouldn't really matter. What matters is here, this one here, as we can see, is off-centered here. So we're gonna go ahead and correct that. And I did check the flow of the valve, and everything seems good on the valve aspect. So this is the old valve here, so I'm not going to replace it. The O-ring's not pinched. It blows one way, it doesn't blow the other way, as any check valve would. So this is good, so we aren't going to replace it in this case. Although if the O-ring was damaged, then at that point we would. So this line here connects to these two, which then goes to the dryer here. So, and then the reason we take off the wheel here is because we have to access this fender liner here. We remove this, and we remove this line here. So that top line comes out of here. So we're gonna ream it, and then we're gonna blow air back and forth a couple times, make sure there's no Chevys in there. Now we left that line in there, there'd be Chevys in the system, and we'd be in a whole world of trouble then. So this is why we need to disconnect this here, make sure everything is nice and clean afterwards when we are done. So I'm going to ream it out now. I'm gonna do it off camera, but I'm gonna ream it out. I'm also gonna cover this hole here and move these out of the way, make sure nothing falls in there, get this done. Hopefully we can get this open a lot better here, so we can see it's off to the side just a bit, and that is our issue. So when the valve goes to open, it hits this and it doesn't allow it to fully open, causing our restriction. Okay, so here we are post drilling, so way bigger of an opening here. So I believe we are good to go here. So we're going to be putting the valve back on. The one that came with the vehicle, I already blew out everything. I blew out the line multiple times, forward and backwards, so we're good here. No Chevys in the system, which is exactly what we want. And we'll get this thing buttoned up. We'll start charging it up, and we'll get this customer back on the road here. All right, lines are back together. We reused the old check valve, like I said. Gonna return that one here. So now we have to actuate these valves on these actuators. So we're gonna come here to our TechLine Connect, and we're gonna hit start right in here. All right, we should be good here. Command, state, start. All right, we're good. So these typically you could either hear them, turn them on. So we're good. We're gonna start our process here with the machine. So we use PO. Yes. Yes. All right, so we'll get this machine going. Should be taking a while here. Again, our first time using it. So meantime, I'm gonna put the fender liner back on, put the wheel back on, get the car back on the ground while the machine does its thing here. Hey guys, so now all I'm doing is I turned it on, heat all the way on. Customer states that the light did come on when the heat was running. So that's why I'm checking with the heat on. So high pressure side, we're reading here. Hold up, give me a second here. 296, right? So that is good. We want to be right around 300. And then sensor 6 temperature, we want to be right around 130, 140, which we are good. And then sensor 8 around 90 or so. So we're at 91, so that is basically where we need to be at. And again, I'm checking it with the heat on because that's when the customer states that the light came on. So that's what I went ahead and did. Although this is not even one of the steps to do. This is just something we were doing beforehand to make sure that everything was working good. So now as an extra step, this is what I do just to make sure everything looks good in my case on my part. And again, everything seems to be working normal. Only time will really tell. Sometimes these codes take 200-300 miles to come back. So we've done about 10 of these. One of them we keep having an issue with, something else bigger going on there. But all other ones have been successful. So we are good here. And again, we are following the bulletin that was released about a week to 10 days ago. That's going to be it for this video, guys. And I'll catch everyone on the next one.